Miami, South Beach, bringing the heat, Can y'all feel that? Can y'all feel that? Jig it out, Here I am in the place where I come let go. In Miami, the base and the sunset low. Every day like a Mardi Gras. Everybody party all day. No work, all play, okay? So we sip a little something, leave the rest to spill. Me and Charlie at the bar running up a high bill. Nothing less than ill when we dress to kill. Every time the ladies pass, they be like, can y'all feel me? All ages and races, real sweet faces. Every different nation, Spanish, Haitian, Indian, Jamaican, black, white, Cuban, or Asian. I only came for 2 days of playing, but every time I come I always wind up staying. This the type of town I can spend a few days in. Miami, the city that keeps the roof blazing.
Welcome to Miami. Bienvenido a Miami.
Bouncing in the club with the heat is on all night on the beach till the break of dawn. I'm going to Miami.
Welcome to Miami.
Yo, I heard the rainstorms ain't nothing to mess with, but I can't feel a drip on the strip. It's a trip. Ladies half dressed, full of your quip, and they be screaming out.
We love your ass.
So I'm thinking I'ma scoop me something hot in this South Submarine Gay melting pot. Hottest club in the city and it's right on the beach. Temperature, get the it's about to reach 500 degrees in the Caribbean seas with the hot mommy screaming. Every time I come to town, they be spotting me in the drop Bentley, ain't no stopping me. So cash in your dough and flow to this fashion show. Pound for pound, anywhere you go. Yo, ain't no city in the world like this. And if you ask how I know, I got to plead the fifth.
Miami. Welcome to Miami. Bienvenido a Miami.
I'm going to Miami.
Welcome to Miami.
Don't get me wrong, Chi-Town got it going on. And New York is the city that we know don't sleep. And we all know that LA and Philly stay jiggy. But on the sneak, Miami bringing heat for real. Y'all don't understand. I never seen so many Dominican women with cinnamon tans. Mira, this is the plan. Take a walk on the beach, draw a heart in the sand. Give me your hand. Damn, you look sexy. Let's go to my yacht in the West Keys. Ride my jet skis, lounge under the palm trees. Cause you gotta have cheese for the summer house piece on South Beach. Water so clear you can see to the bottom. $100,000 cars, everybody got them. Ain't no surprise in the club to see Sly Stallone. Miami, my second home.
Miami. Welcome to Miami. Bienvenido a Miami.
I'm going to Miami.
Welcome to Miami. Welcome to Miami.
To win it. And the kick is good. Kansas City survives. And they are still in the mix.
Welcome to Sports Talk with Chris Heidel here on a Thanksgiving week Tuesday. And that was the Chiefs beating the Colts over on Sunday to shape up a battle with the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. We're going to talk some NFL Thanksgiving games with the Packers and Lions first up at a 1 o'clock kickoff, not a 12:30 kickoff this year because of the NFL is trying to have 1, 4:30, and 8:30 instead of 12:30, 4:30, and all that other stuff. We will have, coming up in a minute here, we have the voice of the Green Bay Packers, Wayne Larrabee, joining us. And then we'll talk Turkey Bowl here in Maryland, the Calvert Hall Cardinals taking on the Bakersfield Dons football team in the classic Maryland Turkey Bowl game, the 105th edition of that beautiful game here on Thanksgiving. So, Adam, you want to bring in our first guest?
Sure. So, folks, like Chris mentioned, if you love Thanksgiving like we do, you know about the history of Thanksgiving in the NFL. So, so after the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, you can kick back and watch the NFL. And the first game up is Green Bay going to Detroit. And these teams played earlier in this year, week 2. So joining us now is the talented voice of the Green Bay Packers. You also know him from the Big Ten Conference, where I call many football games on the ESPN networks, including ESPN Regional Television and ESPN Plus. It's the talented Wayne Larrabee is joining us tonight. So, Wayne, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. And like I said, these two teams faced off earlier this year. So, what are the Packers' expectations going into this Thanksgiving Day game versus Detroit?
Well, first of all, happy Thanksgiving to both of you and your families and your viewers and listeners. It's a great week. It's a great traditional game. This is the most, in my opinion, the most traditional of Thanksgiving matchups. It's the 23rd time, if I've got that right, that the Lions and Packers will play on Thanksgiving in Detroit. No two teams have played more often against one another on Thanksgiving than these two. And it's always an interesting ball game when we get there. 2 years ago, the Lions were riding high. The Packers are trying to figure it out. And that young Packers team jumped on top of them and won going away. This year, the Lions are struggling compared to where they were a year ago. But last year it was their best team, and last year was their opportunity to win it all. They went 15-2, had the number one seed. Didn't get it done, got blown out by Washington on the divisional playoff round. When you miss your opportunity, you bring everybody back. Maybe you add a few players. You say, we're stronger. We're ready to go now. When you miss that window and you knew it was your window, it's hard to reopen the window the next year. And the Lions are going through that. They've lost twice as many games as they lost all of last regular season. They only lost 2 last year. The Packers got them in the opener and really dominated them that day. But that was September 7th. These teams, because of injuries and progression and regression, both sides, they're a much different ball club. It's hard to tell on a short week like this who has the upper hand.
Yeah, Wayne, this is actually Thanksgiving, because every year we see Lions and Packers on Thanksgiving. I know they don't do it every year, but back in, I know when I was a kid growing up, it was almost every other Thanksgiving with Lions, Packers. But it's funny, the Lions don't leave Detroit on Thanksgiving. They just stay home, and everybody else goes to see them. It's like maybe they want to mix it up one time, but I guess they tried that in the 70s with the Cowboys, and they go, oh, we'll just have the Cardinals play the Cowboys in St. Louis. I'm like, okay, that didn't work. I was like, I guess you just want to leave things alone, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's a great ball game. It always is, and these are two really good rivals. And Detroit might still be the most talented team in the NFC North, but they're not playing the best of anybody in the NFC North. And by the way, these two teams, and I'm sure it's a surprise to them, are looking up at the Chicago Bears in the NFC North.
Mm-hmm.
I know. The Bears are actually pretty decent this year. I saw them here. They didn't play well here in Baltimore. The Ravens actually woke up and actually beat them, but they came out in the gate real quick against the Ravens. I thought it was going to be like another blowout because the Ravens just lost to the Texans like 2 weeks ago. It was like before that game, 44-10. So I was like, ooh, this might be another blowout. But somehow the Ravens found a way to win, and the Bears looked kind of like didn't know what to do in that game.
Well, we're going to find out about the Bears in these next few weeks. They play at Philadelphia on Friday, Black Friday game, and then they come to Green Bay the following week. We're going to find out about the Bears. There's no question about that.
Adam, go ahead.
So I want to get back to a game that happened earlier in November, since I live here in North Carolina, is when the Carolina Panthers go up to Green Bay, and you guys lost to the Panthers. So I've got to ask, looking at where Green Bay is then compared to now, do you think quarterback Jordan Love can get it done for the rest of the season?
Oh, I have no doubt about that. He's a talented quarterback. He is matured. He's very solid. Now, the game last week against Minnesota, they didn't need to really employ their passing game a whole lot, and they did not. They were dominating the Vikings, and J.J. McCarthy was really struggling, and that's why the Vikings, who have great talent, 14-win team a year ago, but this year, because of that quarterback issue, they're playing a quarterback who's essentially a rookie, and he's not ready. Playing him before his time, and they have no choice, okay? But he's not ready. And even though he has the best quarterbacks coach, in my opinion, in the National Football League right with him, and head coach Kevin O'Connell. O'Connell's job now is don't break this kid in the final weeks of the season. Don't break this kid. He's a 10th overall choice in the draft. He probably should have sat for 2 years. He sat last year with an injury, didn't practice at all, got no reps in whatsoever, missed time earlier this year. This kid just isn't ready, but he's very good. He has all the natural tools. I watched enough tape on him last week to know that this kid can play. And we've seen flashes of it. But in a big-time situation, he's not ready to play. The problem is Minnesota is ready everywhere else, ready to win the Super Bowl. They have that kind of a roster everywhere else. But this gives you an idea for those who don't understand how important the quarterback position is. Minnesota last year with Sam Darnold went 14-3, okay? They got better this year. They're better on the offensive line. They're better on the defensive line this year. But they've got J.J. McCarthy at quarterback, a rookie who's not ready to play. And therein lies the difference. So now they're out, but we haven't even reached December. They're out of the playoff picture. It's not going to happen. And they've already lost, 7 games or thereabouts. So you get to see how important that quarterback position is. Jordan Love is certainly capable of leading the Packers to the promised land. Is he a first ballot Hall of Fame talent like a Brett Favre or an Aaron Rodgers? Probably not, but he's very good. And I think the Packers have a great chance down the stretch with him at the helm.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Wayne, I saw you guys play against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday Night Football, and Jordan Love was really good. And they had that guy from, I think from North Dakota, your tight end that went down. And it was a really good story about that. The whole town was watching him. It was really cool that a little town in South Dakota, North Dakota, was like literally at a whole bar wearing Packers shirts, like, yay, and all this stuff. And I'm sorry that he got hurt, but it's, hopefully he'll be back. Is he going to be back this year, or is he going to be back next year?
He's done. Yeah, ACL, major injury. He was having a terrific year, blossoming into a blue chip player. I would take him over the guy in San Francisco, who I have a lot of respect for. But he's a complete player and heart and soul of the team, and that's a loss that has been really hard for them to deal with. And if you look at the Packers' stats offensively over the last couple of three weeks or so since Tucker went down, they're scuffling a little bit on the offensive side. They really are. And so they're learning how to play and adjust without a guy who is their major talent, major target downfield, having an all-pro season, and a guy who's the heart and soul off the field of that football team. So it's going to be very interesting to see where they go. But obviously they've changed a little bit of some of the things they like to do.
All right. Adam, you have the final question with Wayne.
Sure. So obviously folks know you as well, where you used to cover the Big Ten Conference. So I've got to ask, what's your overall take this year on the Big Ten Conference as a whole?
I think it's top heavy and good teams. And then there's and it's a big conference now. What is it? 16 or 18 teams? I want to say, it's not the conference I covered number of years ago. Sure. But, you have the addition of Oregon and Washington, UCLA and USC. And that's just a great combination of teams. It's spread now from East Coast to, out west to the Pacific coast. And it's not a Midwest league anymore. It's a national league. And I think they're top heavy. I think Ohio State is really good. Oregon is excellent. Illinois is playing well, or was until they went to Wisconsin and lost a tough game there this past weekend. But they've got some good teams at the top. And I'm not sure their depth is quite as good as some of those other conferences like the SEC.
Yeah. Wayne, I can't believe that Maryland, I know Maryland was like 4-0, but they play all the cupcake games in September. So they should play September football and forget the rest of the year. Because they were pretty good.
Yeah, it's called actually when Chris and I were at the Towson Maryland game in September, and it was like Maryland took care of business, and it's like ever since that the non-comp. I mean, I feel sorry for Coach Loxley and everything that he's doing in College Park, but should be interesting. This weekend is rivalry weekend, so I'm assuming you will find a way to watch Ohio State, Michigan, and
I think everybody will, Adam. They'll find
I mean,
they'll tune in.
I know
on
Wayne
Saturday
has
sometime.
covered the rivalry for many years, so it's called. I know he still watches plenty of college football up there in Wisconsin, right, Wayne?
Indeed. Ohio State, Michigan may be one of my favorite college football games of all time. It's always interesting, and it's been really interesting these last few years since Michigan has taken control. And then last year even beat Ohio State, and Ohio State went on to win the national championship. So it's that kind of a rivalry. It's great. I think it's great for college football. And the Big Ten, it's a much different league. I understand what you're saying about Coach Loxley. We're seeing the same thing at the University of Wisconsin. The landscape has changed. The way you build teams, the way you players, the NIL money, all of that stuff has changed dramatically. And it's changed on the fly. And, some teams, some conferences, and some universities were ready for it. Many, a vast majority, were not. And they're suffering a little bit right now. But they're going to have to find a way to navigate that because the genie's out of the bottle and she ain't going back in.
Exactly. Well, Wayne, I hope you have safe travels to Detroit, and I wish you and your family a happy Thanksgiving. And
Happy Thanksgiving.
Get home, don't eat too much turkey so you can watch all those games on the weekend. That'll be a good thing.
You got it, guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Have a great one. See you. Bye. All right, that's Wayne.
Yeah, it was nice to talk to Wayne Larrabee, the voice of the Packers.
It is somebody's birthday yesterday, so let me, before we bring our next guest, we have a special treat for Adam.
Fine. All right. Go for it.
So here it is.
Happy birthday, Adam.
Happy birthday, Adam.
Hope you have a good day tomorrow. We can't wait to see you in the spring. Okay? We love you, man.
All right. Wish us luck bowling tonight. We'll have a good time.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, that's your friends.
Our good friend. That's right. That's right. My two friends, Mike Ware and Joel Vicky from Murdoch, from Massachusetts, who I will see in April for the TOC.
Yes, so they sent me a message for you it was supposed to, your birthday was yesterday, but this is your day after birthday.
I don't care. I'll still celebrate.
All right, so let's switch pages to local college for local high school Thanksgiving tradition here in Baltimore. This is the 105th edition of the Turkey Bowl between Calvert Hall and Bakersfield. L'Oreal is actually down the street. Like basically, they're in the 20 minutes from each other. It's not like too far away. It's almost like almost like let's say Florida and Florida State or Maryland, Penn State. It's almost closer to that area. Yeah. So let's bring in our coaches. Coach Ward of Calvert Hall will be joining us. Hi, Coach. How you doing? Can you hear us? You're muted. You have to log back in. Yeah, I can hear you.
All good, Coach.
Awesome. Happy to be on here. How are you guys doing?
Doing good.
Good.
Your coach, you're going to see Thursday morning before you eat your turkey. Coach, Coach Holzheiser. Coach Rick on the show. Hi, Coach. How you doing?
Hey, good. How are you guys?
Doing good. Coming on tonight on a Tuesday. I know everybody's getting ready for their big fiesta on Thursday. So, first of all, Coach Rick, how's practice today?
It's good. We got in before the rain hit, so that's always a positive. It was good. We're kind of winding down. We had, mass as a team today and then a team dinner. And, I think Coach probably feels the same way. Hayes in the barn right now. It's been, a long time coming for the game. And I think both teams are probably just excited to get on the field.
Same thing, Coach Ward. How was practice? Did you get in before the big rain, or
we got rained on for a little bit, but not too long. But I think Coach and I were talking about this at the MIAA meeting a week or two ago. It's just like you do so many different things leading up to this game where it's great. Like there's a bunch of different events, TV, radio, alumni, different things at the school where, you almost forget that there's a football game coming for a little while. And I think our guys are excited. I know the Loyola guys are too. And, we're just blessed, both schools, to have a game like this to look forward to every year. And it's a great thing for both of our communities.
Yeah, I know you guys would have to play for this trophy. I found clips from it. Hopefully it works. All right, so that's a couple of years ago. So, so what does that trophy mean for you guys? Because I know, people, we see a lot of the college games, like this is rivalry week for Georgia and Georgia Tech, Miami, Florida and Florida State. What does that trophy mean for your school and, for you as a coach if you win it? You feel like you won like a Super Bowl, right?
Well, Coach, you have it, so I'll let you start.
I was just about to say the same thing. No, I think it's great. I think, it's a healthy rivalry. It's a friendly, it's a friendly rivalry. I think both schools have a similar mission. I haven't known Coach very long, but I can see our coaching philosophies are probably very similar. We're trying to develop young men, and I think this gives them a chance to compete. A lot of these guys know each other. They played youth league together. So it's a cool thing to watch these guys get a chance to compete on the field and, do it in their, right in their backyard in Towson and, against kids that they probably have known since, since they started playing football at 8 years old.
Yeah.
I remember going back to our AD, Dan Mulford, like a few months ago. And it was kind of after, I'd spent some time with Brant Hall, the AD at Loyola, and obviously met Coach. And I was like, man, I wish I wouldn't like those guys. It would make these things a little bit easier. But like Brant Hall and I both went to Lehigh, and we have some connection there. And I look at it like this: it's like every great athletic program has a game like this. Like you look at the Iron Bowl with Alabama and Auburn, you look at Ohio State, Michigan. It's really cool to have something that no matter how your year is going, this can make or break it, for lack of a better term. And you look at Ohio State last year. It's they won the championship, but those seniors never beat Michigan. And I was talking to our kids, I was like, in 25 years, there's going to be more people talking about them never beating Michigan than winning a championship. And that's kind of what our game does too. It's, you're remembered for what you do in the Turkey Bowl. And, it gives your seniors a chance to create legacy and obviously for the whole team to build momentum into the next year and gain some bragging rights. And I think both schools, both programs, and both communities just get incredibly excited about that. And it's an awesome atmosphere and an awesome game.
Yeah. Adam, you have a question for him?
Yeah, well, I am very familiar with really big high school football rivalries because there's one down here where I live in North Carolina, and it's when these two schools get together, it's like you either go for the black and gold of Tuscola High School, where I live in Waynesville, North Carolina, and then there's our arch rivals from Canton, North Carolina, Pisgah High School. When these two teams get together, it's like the county's divided, it's friends against friends, and it's like the 50-50 raffle can go as high as $50,000. So I've gone to these rivalry games in the past, so I understand what you guys are going to be playing for on Thanksgiving. So Coach Ward, you guys have lost the last 3 years. So got to ask, what's it going to take that nice trophy back to Calvert Hall on Friday?
Yeah, I think looking at the past, it's luckily not much of our team was a part of that past. Our staff is mostly new, and we have a bunch of young players that were maybe on JV or maybe kind of role players on those teams that played the last couple of years. So, I think our team feels like they're a new group, and they're a group that's ready to go kind of write their own story. And, at the end of the day, you're playing a really good football team with really good football players. And I know Coach goes out to practice every day just like we do. So, it's going to come down to whichever team can execute better, whichever team can manage their energy and their passion better. And at the end of the day, kind of which team's going to have players that go out and take it. You know, I look at these games a lot, and like you're always going to remember a player or two, you know, from big rivalry games. It's like, you know, this is the year that, you know, Jimmy, you know, made the big catch, or that Tommy, you know, threw for 300 yards, or John ran for 200 yards. So it's, you know, when you get in these games, you need your big players to make big plays. And for us, it's just keep trying to focus on the process. I think a lot of times kids build these games up too much. And, you know, at the end of the day, Towson's field is still 100 yards like both of ours. And, you know, we're still going to play a 48-minute game, and it's still one football on the field. And if we can remember that it's just a game that's just in a bigger atmosphere and a bigger bubble, like we can go out and play the same football, and that's what we're going to try to do.
Yeah. So, Carl, I've got to ask, what's it like for you guys to play on a college football field compared to where you guys normally play at your high school?
I guess, you know, for Coach and I, you know, like Coach played, you know, Division I football at Lehigh, coached there. You know, I'm in a similar boat as with a similar background. I think for us, it's going to be like, you know, kind of, we're going to be used to it, but it's going to be about getting our kids acclimated to it, because it's the first time some of these kids, like Coach had mentioned, that he's got a lot of new guys, and we do as well. A lot of young guys that are seeing their first action in a Turkey Bowl, and it's going to be about acclimating them to the environment, because it's a little bit bigger. The stadium, you know, the seating capacity. So, you know, the locker rooms are a little different. So I think it's just little things like that, getting them acclimated to those sorts of things. And just like, I think Coach made a good allusion to that, you know, that old Hoosiers thing where he measured, you know, the coach came up and measured the basket. It's like the field's 100 yards long, guys. It's you know, Coach is 100% right. It's just getting to realize that this is a football game. You know, they've done it a lot of times over their career. And you know, they, you know, obviously, you know, it's a little bit of a rivalry game, but they, you know, they need to come out and play with passion, play with intensity and execution, and but not let the game get too big for them.
That's true. Yeah, and I agree with you. This is, this is your final game for your seniors, so they want to win this game to go off to college and say, hey, I won my last game. But it's a neutral game, so it's a good thing. And I was just there at Towson on last Saturday. Everything's all over the marquee, like, hey, come here Thursday morning. I'm like, okay, you know, that's good. You know, I'm glad they're putting the word out. You know, and News Channel 2 is doing the game on TV. You know, hopefully Scott Gresto and Jamie Costello are doing. I don't know who's broadcasting it, but you know, you got the best of Baltimore broadcasters doing this game.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely do it like a big time event. You know, it feels like a college game. It feels like you're, you know, I think there's 3 NFL games, but you know, really for people in Baltimore, there's 4 big games to watch. And I don't know if Coach knows this or not, but they're going to show highlights from the Turkey Bowl during the Ravens game, which will be
that's
really
cool.
Really? Cool.
Yeah, so like everybody in the nation is going to see Calvert Hall and Loyola on Thursday night.
Yeah,
so,
now I know it.
you know, this is a big time Baltimore game, but it's about to be a big time national game, and both of our schools are going to benefit from that, and both of our schools are going to be put out there in front of everybody, and that's what I think this is about. Like, yes, it's an awesome football game, but it's also an amazing event for our communities. And you know, we have an event tomorrow at our school with a bunch of alumni coming back, and I know just whether you're, you know, you've seen 50 Turkey Bowls or you've seen 5 Turkey Bowls, like everybody treats it the same way, and everybody's incredibly excited about it. And it's just an awesome game.
That's cool. Matt, you have a question for either or all of the coaches?
Yes, I do. And I mean, either one of you guys can go ahead and answer this, but why should both you guys can answer it? So why is the Turkey Bowl so special to our area?
I think, you know, I think what it is it ties a community together. Where I grew up, I played in a Turkey Bowl that had been around for a long time. You know, Archbishop Stepanek against White Plains High School, and it was like Coach said, it was bragging rights the whole year. You know, the whole area comes to the game. You know, you remember that I told the kids today that I remember my Turkey Bowls more than I remember the state title game my junior year. Like I kind of remember, you know, that game and some of the highlights, but I remember every single snap of every single Turkey Bowl just because it has a little more meaning. It's like, you know, it's it's big for the school, both schools, and it really highlights the best of the Baltimore area. With these two schools and these young men out there competing, and because every single one of these kids that it's on that field is an outstanding young man. Not just on the field, but off the field. They're great representatives of their school and their community, and they're kids that you want that are the next leaders of our community. So it's exciting to see them get a chance to compete, get a chance to grow, and be celebrated.
Yeah, and I look at it very similar. I mean, I always tell people I want college hall football to be the front porch of the school. And what I mean by that is, like, we're the epitome of what a college hall band is. So for us to get kind of a national stage or even just a big Baltimore stage to kind of go present that is awesome. But it's also the longest going Catholic rivalry in the country, I'm pretty sure, which is, a really cool thing that we get to be a part of. And, they've been playing this game for a long time. And most people around the area are obviously not playing or done. You look at the rest of the MIAA, like our conference is all done. So we're the only show in town. So it's going to be all eyes on us. And, it's a great chance for our kids, our communities, and our schools to just put ourselves out there and show the best of us.
Yeah, that's true. It's a big game, and it's a cool thing. It's the first game on Thanksgiving for the Ravens and Bengals. So I want to appreciate you guys joining us, and I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. And hopefully one team wins, the other one has a great. Hopefully both teams can win. Bring the trophy home. Hopefully there's no ties.
Yeah, we'll cut it in half.
Yeah, you cut it in half.
We're just looking for good football, and then make football where they may.
Exactly. Well, I want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving, and thanks.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you
Tell your
guys too.
schools good luck. Okay.
Yep, appreciate it.
All right, see you. Bye.
Yep, y'all have a good one.
Thank you.
All right, that's our Turkey Bowl preview here in Baltimore. So you can watch that game on Thursday morning at 10 a.m. on ABC2. Not ESPN. It could be on ESPN one of these days. So
I was about to suggest
somebody got a haircut here. I know I got one yesterday. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It looks like we got Stone Cold Steve Austin in our building. Nice haircut, Matt. Really nice. Yeah.
Thanks. I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah. So what happened? Did you lose a bet or something? Or I know you had hair the last time. You just got tired.
Well, yeah, I did have hair last time. I mean, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but
it's okay.
Because of a special someone.
Okay.
Yeah. So. It's just been
a rough day.
But anyway, yeah. So I mean, yeah, I really think, yeah, I just it's really special. What it's really special and everything. So the the new look and all that.
It looks good, dude. Yeah. All right, so yesterday was Adam's birthday. Before we bring our next guest, we have people who send us videos. So here's another video for Adam for his birthday.
To our number one GOAT, Adam, I hope you have a great day. I hope you get everything you want. And you are by far the biggest Noel fan that we all know and love. Happy birthday, buddy. Take care. Go Noles.
I know who that's from. That's from Pete the Greek.
Yep. He sent me a video yesterday for you. So.
I figured. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I know there's more coming.
So during the show, Adam, Matt, we have videos that people send him to say happy birthday to him. So.
Yes. Yeah. For yes. Yes.
So anyway, Adam, you want to bring this next guest? I think.
Well, sure. Well, let's see here. It's called. I guess if you're eating turkey dinner at night on Thursday night, you'll be able to watch a classic AFC North game between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens. So joining us now to get us in the mood for some primetime NFL football is our good friend from the Cincinnati Bengals radio network, Dave Lapham, is joining us tonight. So, Dave, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Wishing you and yours happy Thanksgiving. And I'm just talk about, Cincinnati coming off a loss to the New England Patriots, and now they have to go up against a really, really good Baltimore Ravens team.
Yeah, you summed it up right there. There's no question. First of all, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope you and yours enjoy the day to the fullest. Everybody gets their full share of turkey and full bellies and enjoy the day. Yeah, big game coming up. Like you guys have mentioned, AFC North rivals, Cincinnati Bengals, Baltimore Ravens, and it's one of those games where it doesn't matter what the records are. And Baltimore does have a winning record at 6-5. The Bengals were struggling at 3-8, but the Bengals know going into Baltimore, when you travel to Baltimore and take on the Ravens in an AFC North battle like it's going to be in this football game. Thursday night football, nationally televised, the whole nation's watching, the world's watching basically. So you want to go out there and put your best foot forward. You want to make sure that your performance is worthy of a national broadcast. And I think that's on the minds of all the players right now, all the coaches, ownership, everybody. They're going to be traveling into we're going to be leaving a little bit later today. It's Tuesday right now, but a little bit later today, Wednesday, and work our way over to Baltimore and get ready to play the best football game that they've played this season, because that's what it's going to take to beat the Baltimore Ravens for sure.
Yeah, you guys, this is your second Thanksgiving game. You played the Jets back in 2010, and that didn't go well. That was a Sunday. That was a Thursday nighter, on Thanksgiving. So what did they have to do to not have a bad? I know it's a big game, and you have Joe Burrow coming back. My opinion about Joe Burrow, just use Flacco. I know Flacco's not really doing real well right now, but do you really want to risk Joe Burrow and a toe? I feel like to me at 3-8, it's like it's a lost season right now.
Yeah, but Joe Burrow wants to play. And
okay.
if Joe Burrow wants to play, he's going to play. I mean, football players are wired to play. And Joe Burrow's about as competitive as any football player I've ever been around. And he wants to be out there with his teammates. He wants to be out there throwing the deep ball like we're seeing right here. He wants to get the ball down the field to Jamar Chase. He also wants to take advantage of Andre Yosivach. T. Higgins won't be able to go because of concussion protocol issues. But, they're a different football team with Joe Burrow at the quarterback position. Not to say that Joe Flacco hasn't done well. I mean, Joe Flacco is battling a little bit of an AC joint issue right now. It's flared up on him, and they're treating it and getting him ready to play in the game. But I think you might see both quarterbacks in the football game. I mean, Joe Burrow is going to start the football game, but God forbid if something happens and he tweaks that toe, you're going to see Joe Flacco out there on the football field. So, it's if I think Zach Taylor and the organization and Dan Pitcher, the offensive coordinator, everybody's on the same page. If Joe Burrow says, I can play, I'm good, I'm 100%. I'm not 99.5. I'm not 99.9. I'm 100% ready to go. And I think I can go out there and play a great football game. And in talking to Joe Burrow earlier in the week, I mean, he said, I don't want to let the Ravens off the hook. He's had success against the Ravens. He does a good job against the Baltimore Ravens. He's always been able to play well against that defense, and they've got a good defensive football team, and they're coordinated real well. Coaching staff does a fine job, but Joe Burrow, for some reason, when he sees those Ravens uniforms, he plays well.
Yeah, he lit him up a couple of years ago, 453 yards at home, and tore that defense to shreds. And then last year that thriller on Thursday night was back and forth, between Bengals and Ravens, and you got down to wire. That was good too. And plus you and Joe Burrow and Chase are it's like Steve Young and Jerry Rice. They know each other real well. So they're going to chew up that secondary if the Ravens don't pay attention to them.
Yeah, I mean, they played together, back at LSU and played together for, a bunch of years at LSU. So they know each other's, know everything there is to know about each other from a football standpoint and on the football field, then off the football field as well. They're best friends. They They hang together. They know what each other. They have a lot of common interests. They know what each other likes to do. So they're a special. They're a dynamic duo. There's no doubt about it. And they've made a lot of big plays for the Cincinnati Bengals in the early stages of their career for sure.
Yeah. Adam, you have a question for?
Yeah. So looking at this game, Cincinnati hasn't had the year like a lot of fans probably wanted. You guys obviously lost to the Patriots. You guys lost in a thrilling game versus Chicago a few weeks back. So, what are some keys for the Bengals to go on the road and get this win versus Baltimore on Thanksgiving night?
Yeah, I think keys to the football game. Three of them that I can think of right away all start with the letter T, and that's turnovers. The Bengals have to win the turnover battle. They can't go minus. They can't go even. They have to be plus 1, plus 2, maybe even plus 3 in order to win this football game. And they know that. They know they have to go into Baltimore and force turnovers, and they know they have to protect the football better than they've protected it all year long. The Baltimore Ravens are even in the turnover ratio. The Bengals are -8. They've turned it over quite a bit. So that can't continue. That can't be a factor in the football game. If the Bengals end up going minus in the turnover department, they can pack their bags and head home. They're not gonna beat the Baltimore Ravens. And then third down, I mean, if they can convert 50%, at least 50%, and hopefully more like 65%, almost 2 out of every 3 at third down, and keep the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson, that explosive offense, on the sideline, that would be another key to the football game. And then the third key, of course, is punch it in for touchdowns. Don't settle for field goals. When you're in the red zone, low red zone, don't settle for 3 points. And Money Mac's a great kicker. He's done a hell of a job. He can kick from 65, 70 yards. He's got phenomenal range, very, very powerful leg. But don't want to see him doing anything other than kicking extra points. So I think those 3 T's in terms of the keys to the football game, if the Bengals can handle those in a very positive way, the game should turn out well for them.
Yeah, Dave, I heard the defense is getting a little bit better. I was listening to talk radio here in Baltimore. They're getting a little better. It's not the greatest, but they got better. And then they lost to the Patriots last week, but they shut that offense down a little bit. So what do they have to do with Lamar? Lamar is not healthy. There is something not right with Lamar Jackson because he's been a little bit fidgety about getting out of the pocket. Do you see that when you're on film, when you do all your film study? Do you see that there's something? Is that hamstring still a problem with Lamar, or you think it's just something else?
No, I'm not sure. He's had multiple injuries to his legs. The lower extremity, hamstrings they're no joke. They're not fun whatsoever. They're tough. They're tough to deal with, and that is a big part of Lamar's game. I mean, Lamar he's a two-way quarterback. He can hurt you. He can hurt you with that big, powerful throwing arm he has, and he can also hurt you with his feet and his legs. And I remember when Marvin Lewis was coaching against him in Cincinnati, even though he knew a lot of Baltimore Ravens personnel from his years coaching in Baltimore, but he always quarterbacks that could hurt you with their feet, dual threat quarterbacks that hurt you with their feet and legs and throwing arm. Marvin Lewis always had a tremendous amount of respect for those guys, and Lamar Jackson was at the top of the totem pole in that regard. I mean, Marvin Lewis thought that when God created dual threat quarterbacks, he blessed Lamar Jackson, tapped him on the shoulder and said, "You're going to be the one. You're going to be the chosen one." And he's played well. I mean, that guy, the Cincinnati Bengals, everybody has tremendous respect. There are some young players on the football team that haven't played against Lamar Jackson yet, and all the older players are telling him, "Man, just wait. Wait do you see what this guy's like?" And they're saying, like you're mentioning, looking at him on tape, he doesn't have the acceleration that he had. But he said when he's right, this guy has got as much acceleration as anybody in the National Football League, current or former players, in terms of running backs, wide receivers, or quarterbacks.
Yeah, and you played the offensive line, and people don't realize that you had to protect what side of the ball were you on? Did you protect the blind side of the quarterback, Kenny Anderson, or did you on the other side? Where were you on the line?
Yeah, I played mostly. I'd say the highest percentage of snaps that I played were at the right guard position, and Kenny was my roommate for 9 years. 9 of the 10 years I was with the Bengals, so protecting Kenny was always a big deal. He'd make sure the night before that he was taking care of me, waiting on me hand and foot, and then the rest of the offensive line to make sure that he was protected the following day. But I was very fortunate in that I could handle physically and mentally all 5 positions. I played all 5 positions in the same game, 2 different times one season. So that's something, that's a feat, that's an accomplishment that I'm real proud of. I don't think there's anybody else maybe that there might be, but I don't think there's many. Roll call would not take very long to see how many guys have played all 5 positions in the same game more than once during the same season.
Wow, that's great. Matt, do you have a question for Dave?
Yeah, Dave. So what are who are the key players for the Ravens? And I mean, I know that we obviously know a few of them, but what are other key players that are going to make impact to the game?
Yeah, well, obviously Lamar, like we talked about. I mean, he's first and foremost. He's the number one guy that you have to control and take care of. There's no doubt about that. But I'm telling you what, the Bengals have a tremendous amount of respect for Mark Andrews at the tight end position. I mean, this guy is the real deal. He's legitimate. He can block. He can get things going in the running game. And the Baltimore Ravens, when they can run the football down your throat, they're almost impossible to stop, because then the big play action pass is there. That run fake, you take the ball out of the belly of the running back you're faking to, and just throw the ball to any quadrant of the football field that you want to for big chunk gains. And Mark Andrews is very, very special in that regard. And he's the thing about him is he's done it for a while. He's not a one-hit wonder. He's been very, very productive for the Baltimore Ravens. I know Harbaugh speaks very highly of him. You always have to worry about Henry, King Henry, man. I mean, that dude is a beast. And the Bengals have to know, and they do know, that you have to get a lot of bodies around King Henry to get him on the ground. If you leave somebody out there one-on-one in space against King Henry, that's a losing effort, and you're going to pay for it. You're going to give up a bunch of yards and quite possibly a bunch of yards in the score. He's one hell of a football player. I mean, the dude is 6'3"-ish, about 245, 250, something like that, and runs like high 4.4s. I mean, there's not a whole lot of people like that walking the face of the earth, man. That guy is a weapon for sure.
Yes, and I don't know why the Ravens don't use him that much. It's like they use him in the first quarter, and then they don't use him for like the second quarter, and then all of a sudden they realize, oh, we have Henry. I know they're trying to save him for the postseason, but I feel like if you need wins, you got to put that strap on that big bulldog and let him go right through the line. Just put him. That's what he's there for.
Absolutely. I mean, I'd run Derrick Henry till he begged out of the game. I mean, I would let that big workhorse work, man. I'd let him carry it 25, 30 times a game if he felt like he could handle it on that particular day.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, Chris,
Adam,
I have
a question.
I have one more question. So, at the beginning of November, the city of Cincinnati lost a broadcasting legend and former Cincinnati Bengals player in Bob Trumpy. What were some? So, did you ever get a chance to work with Bob Trumpy, and what did he mean overall to the Cincinnati Bengals? When he was there.
Yeah, Bob Trumpy. I played with Bob Trumpy. We were actually teammates initially. My rookie year was 1974, and Trump was still playing tight end for the Cincinnati Bengals, and he was a very, very special player, kind of a revolutionary guy at the tight end position. He wasn't big, thick, muscular guy. He was more long and lean and lithe. and he could run great routes, catch the football, big hands. I mean, Trump was 6'5 plus, 225, 230 pounds, really strong hands, catch the football, pluck it out of the air, tuck it away, don't lose it, don't put the ball on the ground. He ran tremendous routes, had big feet, but man, he had jackhammer feet. Boy, they were quick. And he'd change direction in a hurry, find openings in zones, beat guys in man coverage. Trumpy was a great player, not a good player, a great player. And then we used to kid him. He would start telling stories in the locker room. Guys would hang around Trump, and he was a great storyteller. And he had Vogue. We called him Vogue, voice of God, because his voice, he had that real deep, resonating tone to his voice. And he worked with Dick Enberg. Those guys were a tremendous pair, fast friends, good buddies off the out of the broadcast booth, and they did many Super Bowls together. Trump's done probably more Super Bowls than any other color analyst in NFL history. So there's a guy that not only had one career, a brilliant career as a player, a second brilliant career as a broadcaster, and he was also known here locally in Cincinnati for talk radio. I mean, he had a talk show in Cincinnati that was like must listen to Bob Trumpy, because he'd rip people, man.
Wow.
He'd rip people. Wow. He'd rip people a new one now. He was something else. He was one of one.
That's cool. Well, Dave, I appreciate you coming on tonight. I hope you have a safe trip to Baltimore. I know when we talked back in August, we looked at this game. I got to get you on the week of Thanksgiving.
Right.
So, so we made sure I had circle on my calendar like, ooh, Thanksgiving's coming up. I got to talk to Dave.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity to visit with you guys. You're great guys. And I know you love the game of football, as do I. So anytime we can get together and talk a little football, I'm all in, man.
All right, cool. Well, have a great Thanksgiving, safe trip.
Have a great Thanksgiving.
Eat some good turkey and have some crab cakes with it too.
There you go. That sounds like a plan. You guys, everybody get a drumstick, man. Enjoy that drumstick.
I will. All right, buddy. Thank you so much.
Later, guys.
I see it.
Thanks, Dave.
Oh, that's so great.
Oh, I love talking to Dave Lapham.
I like Dave Lapham. It's funny. I'm not a big Bengals guy, but I love knowing that Bengals guy. Yeah.
I had no idea he played. I had no idea he played with Bob Trumpy. I was like,
no, I didn't know.
Whoa.
Yeah. Well, his program now, 10:05. We're going to talk to Mike Burnup. He is going to be live from the Bahamas because Virginia Tech men's basketball team is playing down there. Plus, we'll talk to him about James Franklin coming to Blacksburg. Yeah.
Cool.
Franklin taking over. Before we bring our next guest here, we got to wish this guy another birthday salute before yours. Remember this guy?
Joe Gill. Of course, it's called. Let's see here. He was with the Red. Well, I guess I could say the Redskins. Now the Commanders, and he's also a very, very successful owner in the sport of NASCAR. Yes. So it's like he won. Former NASCAR driver Dale Jarrett gave Joe Gibbs his first win in the 1990, is either 92 or 93 Daytona 500, in which Dale Jarrett held off Dale Earnhardt Sr. Cool. And frankly, Dale Jarrett's father, Ned Jarrett, was on the call for CBS Sports on that Sunday afternoon. So it's pretty cool to have father call home son in the great American race known as the Daytona 500.
Exactly. So let's switch pages here. There is a college football game playing on Thanksgiving. It's actually a local team, Navy, who is basically knocking on the door to try to win an American Athletic Conference championship. They go down to a place where Elvis Presley used to roam.
Viva Las Vegas.
Going down to Memphis.
And they can have some good Memphis barbecue.
Exactly. So let's bring in Brian Maltz, who covers the Tigers. Let's bring him in. So hi, Brian. How you doing, bud?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Not bad. Good. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Hope everything's good.
Yeah, not doing pretty good. Just hanging out.
So my question is, did your wife let you go to this game on Thanksgiving? Because I know my family is I can't go to any games on Thanksgiving because that's like a big no-no. So I know you have to cover this game on Thanksgiving night. So what is the plan for Thanksgiving in your family for that?
Well, yeah, for me, I mean, I'll cover the game from the couch. I actually have guys in Memphis that will go to the game for me.
Cool.
Nice. That works. You can sit there and watch it on the ESPN network.
Yeah, I'll be at home, and I'll be at home covering the game, and I have guys at the stadium covering the game.
Cool. So this game is a very big game for Navy and Memphis. You know, I know Memphis is limping coming into this game after losing to East Carolina 2 weeks ago, and I know Navy is 6-1, and they're looking to try to host a championship game in Annapolis. So these two teams played last year, and it was like a shootout. And Annapolis, like, geez, there was more points than I thought it was you saw in a Colorado Rockies baseball game, pretty much. You know, like you got a lot of yardage, a lot of everything. So what do they have to do to Memphis got to do control that Navy offense? Because people don't realize they could throw the ball too.
Yeah, that's a new wrinkle from years past. Navy does open it up a little bit more, but Memphis. They just need to play, assignment football. They can't get, overwhelmed. You have your position, you have your job, stick to it. Don't be looking elsewhere. And I mean, that's something that defensive coordinator Jordan Hankins has, instilled in these guys. And, we'll see if they can pull it off Thursday night. But yeah, coming off two straight frustrating losses for Memphis, and basically one possession losses too. All three of their losses were by 7 points or less. So it's definitely frustrating for them because they wanted to be in that conference championship hunt, and for the sixth time in Ryan Silverfield's Memphis career, they fell short. And so yeah, it'll be definitely interesting to see how they come out. Will they play for pride? Because they know they're not playing for a conference championship, but will they still play with pride?
Right, exactly. Adam, you have a question for him?
Yeah. So you mentioned Memphis has come up short in their last two conference games against Tulane and East Carolina, respectively. And this is the season finale on Senior Day. So what does Coach Satterfield what are some keys for the Memphis Tigers to get back on the winning track, and win on senior night versus Navy?
Yeah, I think they got to stop shooting themselves in the foot. When the year started, it was rare that you have all these pre-snap penalties that's been creeping up for the past few games. But for Memphis, definitely, you just got to play smart. You can't turn the ball over. Play your assignment of football. If you play the way you've played in the beginning of the season, they'll be fine. But for whatever reason, there's for the past, 4 or 5 games, just these little things that they're shooting themselves in the foot. It just, I don't know if it's mental, if the pressure is getting to them because everybody wanted a conference championship and they haven't got there since 2019. So whatever the case may be, they really have to pay attention to all the little details and just get it done. Do your job.
Yeah, so I was kind of surprised, I was really surprised when Memphis lost to East Carolina a couple weeks ago because, that game versus Tulane you guys had before that, that was a really good matchup going back and forth. And when I saw, I was like, Memphis is really good in the American, they're probably looking at a really good bowl game to go to. So, what are some things that Memphis, what's your overall take on how strong of a conference the American Conference has been this year?
Yeah, I definitely think it's the best of the group of 6. Whoever wins the American should have a leg up on the college football playoff. and it looks like it may be, Tulane. If they keep winning, they win out. They should be in. But I think the American Conference is a great conference. From top to bottom. When you take a look at the other group of six conferences, it could be that they seem top heavy. With with the American, even the mid tier to lower tier teams can surprise you, as Memphis found out with UAB. They fired their coach, and all of a sudden, UAB comes out and shocks the world and shocked Memphis, 31-24. So, to me, it's a fun league to watch. A lot of offense, and it's a good league when year after year the Power Four, Power Two now, but anyway, the power conferences come poaches your coaches. It seems like every year there's 2 or 3 coaches that get poached from the American, and then what today you saw North Texas head coach Eric Morris get hired by Oklahoma State. And there's talk about Ryan Silverfield to Arkansas. We'll see if that happens.
Really?
But, Alex Golish is another one from South Florida. His name's tied to a bunch of openings in the power conferences. So, yeah, it's a good conference not only to watch, but when you see the coaches, it's a good stepping stone if a coach wants to go to a power conference.
True. I'll agree with
Well,
that.
with Mike Norvell coming from Memphis to Florida State, and we see right now he's struggling, and we're trying to figure out what happened. He was doing so well in Memphis. I guess going from Memphis, that basically you guys have a lot of teams in Tennessee, so it's basically Memphis is not like Tennessee, University of Tennessee. It's like by second fiddle or third fiddle to a school down in Tallahassee. It's like the state school, and everybody knows who they are, and that's a lot of pressure on a coach. And like you just said, from the North Texas guy going to Oklahoma State, that's a little tough for going to a state of Texas where there's 7,000 colleges that play college football.
Yeah.
To a state of Oklahoma where there's Oklahoma and Oklahoma State are the 2 powerhouses in that state.
Yeah, and I was surprised that Norvell has struggled recently. It was a shame that the quarterback Jordan Travis got hurt, or else they would have been in the playoffs. To me, my opinion, they should have been in the playoffs anyway, even though your quarterback got hurt, because they were still 12-0. But and before Mike Norvell left, you had Justin Puente, who left Memphis and went to Virginia Tech. So it's Memphis has been a good spot for the past 10 or so years to jump off into a new position. And like I said, we'll see if Silverfield makes that move or if he stays. Because the way he recruits, the way he handles the recruiting budget, I think he does more with less, because Memphis doesn't have the biggest recruiting budget in the American. I think I've seen the USA Today report that shows it was actually South Florida that has the biggest recruiting budget. So when you have a coach like Coach Silverfield, who has NFL experience, so he knows how to handle the situations like that. I feel the college football today is more like an NFL model, because you have the transfer portal, or what I like to call it, the free agency, college free agency, because all the kids, obviously want to get paid. And when you interview kids nowadays, it's not like I want to go to a place where, tradition or, education. It's, 9 times out of 10, when I talk to kids, it's, I'm going to go to a place who pays me the most. So it's all about money. It's a business now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Brian, we're up against the clock here, but thank you so much for coming on tonight. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy the game from the couch. Like, that's probably where I'm going to be. In between the Bengals Ravens down at my girlfriend's house, and I'll keep an eye on the Navy game on my phone and see what's going on. But I want to wish you and your family a great Thanksgiving, and enjoy the rest of your fall season.
All right, you too. You guys have a good one.
All right, man. Thanks, man. See you.
Thanks, Brian.
Bye. All right. That's Brian Maltz, who covers the Memphis Tigers for the Tiger Sports Report. Before we bring on our next guest, I got to play a video. This is Rivalry Week. These 2 teams from the state of South Carolina really don't like each other. So here's a little clip. Oh, I guess we let's see. Yeah, so this is Clemson versus South Carolina this week.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Chris, Clemson don't look good under Dabo Sweeney this year.
No, well they can still go to a bowl game, so that's a good.
Yeah, they did beat Furman, but
yeah, but the South Carolina, the Gamecocks they're having problems too as well. They're not going bowling with Beamer. They did beat Coastal Carolina last week, but some of those scenes from some classic South Carolina Clemson games. I know there one year they had a big fight. I mean that's Refrigerator Perry right there. We know about William Perry, big boy. That's a big boy right there.
Yeah, we know about Clemson after what Clemson did to us a couple weeks ago down there at Memorial Stadium.
Exactly. So let's bring in JP Prester, who covers the Tigers for Tiger Insider. So let's bring in Clemson Tigers Insider. So hi JP, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing well, man. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Happy you and your family. Hope you guys are getting ready for Big Turkey Day and eat all that wonderful fatness we love. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. I think everybody enjoys the Thanksgiving holiday, man. It lets them do a little eating they probably wouldn't normally do otherwise.
Yeah, so let's talk about this game. This is not like the game last year with South Carolina beating Clemson and Dabo sitting in his office waiting for Syracuse to beat Miami. And did Dabo ever gave Syracuse coach that steak dinner that he's looking for?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I know he gave him a shout out a couple of times, and I know Fran Brown and ended up calling Dabo or texting him or something. I don't know about the steak dinner.
Because we read the ACC kickoff, and I asked one of them, I was like, what about the steak dinner? Who's going to pay? And he goes, I don't know. I'm like,
yeah, you did, Chris. You did. Yes, you did.
Yeah, but anyway,
and Fran come in and put it on Dabo this year.
Oh, I guess he doesn't get the steak dinner then. Forget that.
He might not. He might not want to give him one now.
So tough season for Dabo. Came out of the gate. They lost to Brian Kelly, and and then all of a sudden this tough couple games in the ACC. And now they can still go bowling, and that's a good thing. But it's not where they wanted it to be. Beginning of the year when we had them down in Charlotte, they were picked to win the conference.
Absolutely. Just a massive disappointment of a season. Not only was this team picked to win the ACC, they were a popular pick to kind of contend for a national title. We're talking about a team ranked number 4 in the AP poll coming into the season. They even still, they have never looked like a team that should have been ranked in the top 5. The offense got off to an extremely slow start. Once it starts clicking, then the defense starts having all kind of issues. They've just not able to put it together on both sides of the football. The way the Dabo Sweeney likes to term it, they've not been able to play complementary football very often this season. We saw a little bit of it maybe against Florida State a few weeks ago, but even then they had some bust on the back end that Florida State wasn't able to take advantage of. It just for whatever reason, this team has not really gelled the way some people thought it would. And same thing for South Carolina. You're talking about another team that had playoff aspirations coming into the season. So the way these two teams and their seasons have played out is kind of taking a little shine off of this rivalry game this weekend.
Yeah, same thing down in Florida with Florida and Florida State. It's like they call that game should be on Cartoon Network because they're both stinking terrible. And I said, why? And I wrote a message on one of the boards like, why have it on television then? Just put it on like radio, like back in the day, like no TV, just radio. Man, that's it. And you don't have to listen.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but we got to play these games, and these are rivalry games, and a lot of these teams get up for these games. Like for Florida State and Florida. Yeah, Florida State, if they beat Florida and Miami, their season's good. And I look at it that way. That's a great way to win have a better season. For South Carolina and Clemson, if you beat your rival, it's still a decent season, except for the record.
Absolutely. There are a lot of people that would rather go, at least in the Clemson fan base, and it was really like this before Dabo got to Clemson, but there's still some like this. They'd rather go 7-5 or 8-4 and beat South Carolina as opposed to going 10-2 or 11-3 or 10-2 and losing to South Carolina. It's kind of a weird dynamic, but Yeah, this is kind of going to be the Super Bowl, for South Carolina season. They can't get bowl eligible. Clemson did get bowl eligible last week, but if you lose this game, you don't go. It doesn't matter what happens in that bowl game because you're going to have so many opt-outs. Nobody's going to care. But you lose this game, and even if you win that bowl game, you're going to go into the offseason just, not with no positive momentum and with the preseason expectations. It would leave a very sour taste in a lot of people's mouths if Clemson were to lose this game, and I think they very well might.
Yeah. Adam, you have a question for him?
Yeah, so last year a lot of people were high on Clemson's quarterback, Cade Klubnik. He was one of the ACC Offensive Player of the Year, and something to me hasn't gelled this year with him and Dabo Swinney. So, what's your overall take on how Cade Klubnik has played this year for the Clemson Tigers?
Failed to live up to expectations. We're talking about it. We're talking about a guy that was a former 5-star. He was the number one player in that 2022 recruiting class. He came in a few years ago, relieved DJ Uiagalelei in the ACC championship game against North Carolina, kind of lit him up. One player of the game, had everybody, salivating. Then he comes back in the Orange Bowl against Tennessee, and he looks human. He had some ups and downs in his first year as the full-time starter. As expected, he had some growing pains. Still had a few last year, and then over the back half of the season, he really started. It looked like he was starting to put it together, and he absolutely torched that Texas secondary in the second half last year the way no other quarterback did all of last season. And I think that was part of what led to those extremely high expectations for this season. But he's a guy that for some reason he just struggles with the mental mistakes. And sometimes he makes them at the most inopportune times. You saw it in the South Carolina game last year. As soon as South Carolina takes the lead with just over a minute left, Klubnik's got the team driving. They're down in field goal range. All you have to do is kick a field goal to tie it. Obviously you want to score a touchdown to win it, but you got to be smart with the football. He decides to take a check down that's not going anywhere, throws it behind the running back, gets tipped in the air, picked off, game over. Don't even get a chance to kick the field goal. A couple of weeks ago in Louisville, I give you another example. You're facing a 3rd and 1 or 3rd and goal from the 1-yard line. Clemson likes to use this jumbo package where they bring Peter Woods in, the defensive tackle, and line him up at fullback, and they'll hand him the ball so he can pick up a yard or two. Well, he fumbles. Fortunately, Clemson recovers. It's actually Klubnik that recovers the fumble, so they get another shot, 4th and goal from the 1. This time, the ball is supposed to go to the running back with Woods as the lead blocker. But Klubnik, he has what Dabo Swinney termed as a brain fart and decides to try to hand it to Woods, who never even looked for the ball. Second fumble in a row. This time, Louisville recovers. I mean, we've just seen him, so many examples of him making the wrong read in the zone read game or the RPO game, whichever one you want to dissect. I mean, it's just, I don't think he's ever got there fully from the mental aspect. I think that's what's kind of held him back.
Yeah, I'll say this, going into the year, I thought Clemson was going to win the ACC as well. And to see Clemson the way they are is kind of sad because I have a lot of respect for Cade Klubnik and what he's done down there. And it's like when Clemson beat Florida State a few weeks ago, it wasn't the same. We all remember what happened the year before or a couple of years ago when Florida State went to Clemson and beat them in overtime. And this year it's like, I don't know. I mean, do you think that Dabo Swinney, will stick around Clemson for the next couple of years?
Yeah, I think he probably will. And speaking of those brain farts, Klubnik had one in that game too late.
He did.
Against Florida State. He was supposed to hand it off and decides to throw the wide receiver screen. But yeah, I think Dabo will stick around, man. He's a very prideful guy, like a lot of these football coaches. He's got a big ego. I just there's no way I see him leaving after a 6-6 or 7-5 season. I just can't see it happening. He's going to want the opportunity to get this thing turned around. This is going to be a big offseason for Dabo. This was the season that was supposed to prove his philosophy still works. All this homegrown talent, he returned 85% of the production from last year. He did go add 3 portal guys who have all been impact players and have helped, at different levels. But he's kind of at a crossroads now. His recruiting classes are getting poached due to other teams willing to pay more money than Clemson's willing to pay to a high school freshman. And it's leaving a lot of gaps on his roster, particularly with so many upperclassmen on this current team set to come off of the books after this season. He's going to have to hit the portal hard if they want to be competitive next year. He's not been a big fan of having to do that. Don't think he's really believed he needed to do that. So I think the program's at a crossroads right now. I think he needs to address some spots on his coaching staff. But, yeah, I think he's going to stick around. I think he'll try to get it turned around. I mean, I don't see him being around another decade or anything like that. I don't think he's a big fan of this era with the year-to-year free agency and stuff. But I think he'll be around at least a couple more years.
Yeah. Okay. Well, JP, we're up against the clock here, but I want to wish you and your family a great Thanksgiving, and you can watch that game on the SEC Network at 12 noon. If you have it on the YouTube TV, they finally got it back on. Thank God. After 2 weeks of pure nothing, and I'm going to drop it anyway because it's cheaper to get the ESPN Plus instead of YouTube TV.
That it is, my friend. Appreciate you guys having me on, man.
All right, bud.
Happy Thanksgiving, JP.
Happy Thanksgiving,
you too, bud. Same to you guys.
I see it. Bye. All right, it's JP Presswood, who I tried to get on when I had that situation up in Allentown.
Yes, you did.
Yes. So let's bring in our guest, our happy birthday salute to Adam. Because his birthday was yesterday, so we want to have another one of our fine friends sending us a message.
Adam, my ACC friend, I hope you have had a wonderful day. I hope you got a lot of bowling in this past weekend, and I hope your family spoiled you rotten. You were such a great person to know, and I'm truly blessed to have you in my life. And I can't wait to celebrate with you soon. Love you, friend.
Thank you. And hopefully we will see Jen down in Charlotte at the ACC.
Hopefully, yes. Hopefully.
Chris, can I bring in our next guest?
Yes, go ahead. Bring in the big guy.
So, we've talked about 2 games that are taking place on Thanksgiving, but there is one more, and that is between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Dallas Cowboys. Kansas City Chiefs are coming off a overtime win on Sunday versus the Indianapolis Colts. And they really haven't looked like the Chiefs team we all know in the past, but they're taking on a really good Dallas Cowboys team who won against their rivals, the Philadelphia Eagles, on Sunday. So to get us in a Chiefs Cowboys mood, let's bring in our good friend Bethany Bowman, who you can listen to out there in Kansas City. So Bethany, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And just talk about this Kansas City Chiefs team coming off a overtime win on Sunday versus the Indianapolis Colts, and now have to go to Dallas to take on a pretty good Dallas Cowboys team.
Yeah, definitely. And happy birthday. Late birthday.
Thank you.
Of course. Thanks for having me on, guys. It's been a while. I think I even have a new dog since we last talked. So if you hear some barks, I'm sorry.
You're all good, Bethany. You're all good, my dear. You're all good.
It's been a while since we've talked, but
yes.
I don't think we've talked since the Chiefs started the season, and no one thought that they would be here sitting at 6-5. Although, that's not the worst record in my opinion. Yeah, I don't think that's true, Bethany. Yeah. No one thought they'd, be sitting with 5 losses right now for sure. That Colts game though on Sunday that you just mentioned was such a big one. I mean, that right now is kind of the talk around Kansas City. Like, did that game save the season? And I think honestly that really did, because going into that game, I'm not into really a whole bunch of math, but I love to look at like Pro Football Focus and all the math and data that they do. And I guess the Chiefs had the highest playoff percentage leverage this week of any team in the NFL. So a win boosted them to 68% chance to make the playoffs now. A loss would have put them down to about 35%. Going into the week, they were about 55%. So now sitting at 68, that feels a lot better than either 55 or 35. I think everybody kind of feels like, oh, it's the Chiefs. They'll find a way to get it done. I'm over here a little bit stressed. Like, before this week, I'm like, man, I know they turn it on at the end of the season, but you've got to make the playoffs first. You can't keep, for lack of a better term, jacking around for a while. Like, this team has to have a better sense of urgency. I think everybody was a little bit disappointed coming off the bye week because the message, after they lost in Buffalo was, we're going to clean some things up. That's what Andy Reid always says, we're going to clean things up. It never seems like there's big problems in Kansas City. It's like, hey, we're going to clean a couple things up. But then they go into Denver and lose by 3. And yes, Denver had a great defense, and all that, but that was a disappointing loss. I'm like, what did you clean up in the bye week? Like, I think everybody wanted to see a little bit more. And especially then in this Colts game, I won't lie, I don't think they came out and really were impressive. I mean, Patrick Mahomes didn't throw a touchdown pass in that game. You got the Kareem Hunt touchdown, but really it was the Harrison Butker show keeping them in the game with his field goals. And that's just what's concerning right now is why isn't this Chiefs offense able to score more touchdowns, to get in the end zone, not capitalizing on opportunities. And so going into Dallas, that's really what I'm going to be looking for. I'm hoping for more of an offensive performance from this Chiefs team.
Yeah, I'm going to my girlfriend's Thanksgiving party. I'm wearing my Chiefs jersey right now. And I like being the villain. I love being the villain because I'm sitting there after the Ravens beat the Jets and they put let's go to Kansas City to watch the end of the game. I'm like, oh, cool. And her mother was like, oh, I hope they lose. I'm tired of them. And I'm thinking, like, I sit there like, I'm glad to be the villain. I really do. And I grew up with, I've been a Chiefs fan since Joe Montana came to town. And I was so used to having like failures in playoffs, like the missed field goal in '95 and all that stuff, and Montana getting knocked out in Buffalo after a very good game in Houston against the Oilers, and now I'm like sitting there going, I guess it's what the Patriots feel like, when they won all those Super Bowls. Like people just don't like us anymore because we win more championships, and I guess everybody else is jealous. Like, come on now. Yeah, you guys can win the Super Bowl this year. If we make it to the Super Bowl, God bless it. It's something right, but, it's still a long season. And I like I said, I still like being the villain around here. It's pretty good.
Well, something I've learned is that, Vegas always knows something that we all don't know. And so for them to have the Chiefs still at such good Super Bowl odds and Super Bowl, champion odds, obviously they still think a little bit about this team. And so when I get worried, I think about that. Again, as I mentioned, it's like, okay, guys, like we got to really make sure you're going to get to the playoffs before we can start looking ahead to that. But again, I think Sunday's win was huge. Going into Dallas, some things I think you can build on. I mean, they held Jonathan Taylor to 58 rushing yards, which I was so concerned about coming in because he's been phenomenal this season. I think the run defense was incredible for Kansas City this week. You look too, one of the touchdowns, it was a phenomenal pass from Daniel Jones to the tight end, I believe, for the Colts and got his foot in bounds. And, besides that, then you look at, maybe the Colts are scoring 16 points if you take away that touchdown. So the defense really stepped up. But again, I think the real concerns are the offense because that's what everybody was so excited about going into the season. And also what I want to see more of too is Patrick Mahomes with, Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown and Travis Kelce, who, by the way, has anybody noticed, is having on pace to have a better year than he has in the last 3. And so everybody that was saying, he's old and he's washed, Travis Kelce is still very much here, and he is definitely making himself an impact player this year in the NFL at age 36. So with all these weapons, there was all this talk in training camp about how there's going to be, explosive play calling and shots down the field. And I'm like, oh, this offense is going to be so much fun to watch. And it's just looked really hard to even move the ball. And I think that's something that, Patrick Mahomes is a little bit bewildered about. I think everybody's trying to figure it out. it's frustrating because Travis even said on his podcast, New Heights, like, this offense is better than some of the offenses that won the Super Bowl. Now, I don't know collectively as a team because some of those defenses were really good, but offensively, I think everyone's kind of scratching their heads, guys on the team and coaching staff included, because it just hasn't, become the offense and the outcome that everybody thought it would be. But the pieces are there. And so I think that's what's encouraging for everybody is like, if they can figure it out, yes, they are 100% Super Bowl capable.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Adam, you have a question for
us?
Yeah,
so, to me, when Kansas City went out to Denver a couple weeks ago, I was really, really shocked, to see the Broncos beat the Chiefs, because I was like, okay, Kansas City's on the road. I know it's Mile High, and they've always been really good against Denver. But do you think now the NFL has finally caught up to Kansas City, and Kansas City isn't playing like a lot of people thought they were, to start the season?
Yeah, I mean, your second question, yes, are they not playing like people thought they were? 100%. And I think that's right there. The answer is like, they're not playing to the standard and the level that they thought they should be at. So as far as has the NFL caught up to the Chiefs? No, I think they've caught up to maybe the level of just winning some games, which, you look like the Colts, they're having a season like no other, and Kansas City just beat them. And so Denver too, last year the Chiefs kind of were that team that were able to win all those close win games. Yeah. This year that's Denver. I am really excited for the Broncos to come into Kansas City on Christmas Day. That will be the real true test, I think, to see where things are at. Do I think Denver will probably win the division? Yes, I think they're probably just as far as how the NFL goes, a little bit too far ahead of pace right now. All the guys, if you talk to them in the locker room or at the podium after the game, they're like, hey, a win's a win, and it's hard to get a win in the NFL. There's so many things that can happen. Just the grind of everything that goes in week to week to winning a football game. I think it's a little bit hypocritical for some of us to sit here as fans and be like, they should have done this and this and this. And it's like, it's a lot more complicated than that. And I know you guys know that and that kind of thing. But it is frustrating, though, sometimes to see these losses. I think that the loss in Denver was super frustrating because I do feel like Kansas City is probably the better team. But as far as division hopes, unfortunately, I think there is a path for Kansas City to win it still. But it's one of those things where a lot of teams would have to do a lot of different things. And fate is no longer left up to just Kansas City winning. So I'm kind of past that. I'm like, hey, I think the division and the streak of 9 straight is out, but there is still obviously a path to the playoffs, and that's all that matters. I do feel really bad for whoever will draw Kansas City in the wild card, because I wouldn't want to play Kansas City in the wild card.
I don't think anybody would play Kansas City. I mean, you mentioned their record, and it's like it's not where Kansas City normally is. Normally they're like first or second, number 1 and number 2 seed in the AFC. But it's like, like you mentioned, it's like if Kansas City were to find a way to get to the playoffs, it's like, it doesn't, you look at, the Bills, the Ravens, and the Chiefs, it's like when they get to the playoffs, they're completely different teams. So so previewing this Kansas City and Dallas game, we all know that the Cowboys have a strong offense and a really good defense. So what are some keys for Kansas City, to stop that high-profile offense led by Dak Prescott and have those incredible wide receivers in George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb?
Yeah, I think it starts first, bring the pressure. Today, Steve Spagnuolo, defensive coordinator for the Chiefs, said that defensive tackle Chris Jones is probably doing more for this team and making more of an impact than his stat sheet shows. But at the same time, I'd like to see him get in there for some more pressure, some more sacks, things like that. George Karlaftis has done a good job this year too, but I just feel like the Chiefs have not been that aggressive defensive team, especially at the line of scrimmage. So I'm hoping to see a little bit more of that, make it hard for Dak to find his receivers, first of all. It's really a simple game, guys. When it comes down to it, we could sit here and talk X's and O's, but we need to see a guy making it hard for Dak Prescott. There it is for all of our simple-minded football fans. And then number 2, like Brian Schottenheimer this week, which by the way, he is a Kansas City guy. He went to Blue Valley High School here in Kansas City and then played at the University of Kansas for a while before transferring to Florida. But he even said this week, hey, it's going to be a lot to CeeDee Lamb. And it's like, wow, why would he want to say that, and go on record and say that? Well, first of all, he must think a lot of CeeDee Lamb and trust his abilities, even with defensive schemes, knowing the ball is going to him. But at the end of the day, though, the Chiefs, as tough of a task and as tall of a task as it will be to slow him down, and Pickens, like you mentioned, they will need to do a really good job and be very sound defensively, trying to shut those 2 receivers down because they are really, really good.
And also one more thing, if you guys are watching us on Twitter, go follow Bethany, because she is a great follow and she does a great job covering the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. So I love following you, Bethany, on Twitter. So keep it up.
Thank you so much,
you
guys.
do a good job too. I follow you too, but thank you for coming on all the time. I know you're always that person I could text. I'm like, hey, you available?
I appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
I love to talk about my Chiefs here in Baltimore, and it's funny that people around here. When I walked into the supermarket one time, some guy goes, "I'll open the door for you. I don't know why you're wearing that sweatshirt."
I love it.
Actually,
I'm like, okay.
Yeah, well, actually, it's called.
I know this
I have a cool.
Right here, Adam. I owe him lunch down in Charlotte in the week.
Yeah, you do, Chris. Yeah,
I lost because of Bill's game. So
yeah, but I will say this. Speaking of the supermarket, I work at a grocery store here in North Carolina, and I did talk to a few Kansas City Chiefs fans down here today, and one of them has been a fan of they live in Florida, but one of them has been a Kansas City Chiefs fan since the 70s, and she was talking about Len Dawson and Christian Okoye, and she's gone to so many games at Arrowhead. It was like, and she said that she knows Donna Kelsey really well, so it's like, I was like, I'll talk Kansas City Chiefs football with fans, from Kansas City, and it's like, hey, it's called it's called when the Chiefs get to the playoffs. They're a completely different animal.
I will say it's very cool living in Kansas City because all those former players, like you mentioned, they're out at charity events. They're still in, organizations that support the Chiefs, and you just see them around all the time. Kansas City is really pretty small in the grand scheme of things, and a lot of these guys, they want to live in Kansas City post NFL careers because it is such a tight-knit community. And so that's a really cool part of living in Kansas City. And like Donna Kelsey, I think, has embraced that as well because she's a phenomenal woman. And Travis loves living here, I think, from what he's told us. And it's just really cool to see how they all like to just be a part of the community, stop and talk to people. Actually, first, before I ever worked in media, ran into Travis Kelsey downtown Kansas City, walking his dog. He had a Pomeranian, by the way. Really crazy to see this tall NFL tight end with a little teeny fluffy Pomeranian. But he stopped and talked to me for like 5 minutes, and he didn't know me at all. I was just like a regular person at the time. Like, I'm a regular person now, but like, he didn't know me from like press conferences or anything. And he stopped and talked. He's so nice. So
that's cool.
Cool. Cool.
Well, Brittany, I want to wish you and your family a great Thanksgiving, and thank you so much for coming on, and we'll talk to you soon.
Same to you guys. Have a great Thanksgiving.
All right.
Lots of food.
All right, see you later.
I love.
That's Brett.
He's one of the coolest people I know outside of Dayton Hughes, who comes on here, to talk Kansas City Chiefs football. She's amazing.
Before we bring in our next guest by phone, another birthday salute. Let's go for here's another one for you, Adam.
Fine.
Hi, Adam. Wanted to wish you a happy birthday. Hope you're having the best day. And also wanted to say thank you so much for coming on our show. We enjoy it so much. 3 Chicks in a Pod, Chicks and Salsa is better for knowing you.
Oh, that's her. I know who that is. That's Miss Megan.
Yes, it is. So, speaking of somebody, we have him on the phone, and let's play this real quick. Yeah, he's in the Bahamas, but I guess this is close to the Bahamas. We got Mike Burnup on the phone from the Bahamas. So, Mike, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, we got a little Jimmy Buffett for you, Jamaica and Jamaica. I know you're not in Jamaica, but you're in the Bahamas. But we got to use some of that. Good.
Yeah, I'll have to say it's beautiful weather. It was about 80 today and a nice breeze. Yeah, it was quite different from home.
Yes, it is. A lot different from home. It was raining and cold here today, so here in Baltimore. But so anyway, first of all, let's talk about Virginia Tech. They're in the news. They got a new football coach in James Franklin. So, what do you think about Franklin taking over the program?
I think it was a home run hire. I think everybody's excited about it, and I think he'll do amazing things. I think you can see already some of the results on the recruiting trail. He had about a bunch of 4-star recruits there last weekend for the game, and a couple of them I think have already committed. So I think he's going to do great things. He was a good recruiter when he was at Penn State, as was Brent Pry, and I think he'll get better players in here. I think when the portal happens, I think he'll get some of Penn State's players as well. And so I think he'll come in next year, and it'll be a different-looking team for sure.
Well, I like what James Franklin did. He called Coach Beamer and said, "May I take over your team?" And I think that's really a great way to say, thank you. And is it okay for me to coach your alma mater? And he said, "Sure, go ahead." And I think that's a very nice, touchy thing, bringing back the past to James Franklin, who brings back Beamer. Beamer's always around the program, no matter what. But getting his blessing, that's always great.
Yeah, it was. And when he came to the press conference at Castle Coliseum, which was packed, by the way, the first people he greeted was Mrs. Beamer, Cheryl, and Frank. He walked right in. They were sitting on the front row, and he gave him a big hug before he went up on the stage to talk. So, yeah, he got his blessing. And obviously, Brent Pry was a big part of telling him about things at Virginia Tech. Mm-hmm. And as was Bud Foster. He was instrumental in talking to Coach Franklin in terms of coach-to-coach speak. Yeah. And so I think he got a good handle. They recruited him hard, and they won the battle, and I think it was a home run hire.
Well, I think, and I saw Coach Franklin a lot up at Penn State the last couple of years, and I think up there's a lot of pressure because you're the state school of Pennsylvania, and I guess he couldn't go out to the supermarket to get anything, or he can't do anything because up there they're rabid. And down in Virginia Tech, they're the same way. But a little more like I feel like they're more friendlier because I have a place up in McCackysburg, Virginia, and people love people down there. It's a great mountain area. 81 is a great place for people to have their family, and I feel like there's a great place for him to have his kids.
Well, as long as you got Michigan and Ohio State up there, right? It's going to be a tough league.
Yes.
And people were down on him because he couldn't win the big game. Well, not a lot of people beat Ohio State, especially here lately, so they're pretty daggone good. So I think the pressure, is a lot less here at Virginia Tech. I think this league is wide open when you look at it because look what happened to Florida State and Clemson this year. Everybody had Clemson penciled in to win the national championship and, have the Heisman winning quarterback and blah, blah, blah. And look at Florida State. They came out and beat Alabama. Look what's happened to them since.
Right.
I mean, I think this league is wide open, and I think Coach Franklin can do a bang job and get them back on track and have them compete for the ACC championship.
Yeah. Well, speaking of football, they got a big game this weekend against Virginia, and Virginia Tech needs to do is knock off Virginia for any shot of having Miami or Pitt or whoever or whoever's in the ACC championship game. So it seems like Virginia Tech has to do the spoils thing with Virginia what Virginia did to you guys a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I mean that's the mindset you have to take because obviously winning 3 games, it's been a long, tough year filled with adversity, and Virginia's in the driver's seat along with SMU. If they win the games this weekend, they'll be in the championship game. If the Hokies can be a spoiler and knock them off, it could be Pitt. That gets in if Pitt beats Miami. So you never know. It's going to be fun. I do know this, that the Hokies have had great success against UVA over the years, and I'm sure that in the back of their mind that probably bothers them a little bit. But they got a really good team, and the Hokies are going to have to play well to beat them.
Yeah. Adam, you have a question for Mike?
Yes. So I'm switching gears to basketball. That's why you're there in Bahamas. Virginia Tech opens up there in the battle for Atlantis tomorrow versus a really good Colorado State Rams team from the Mountain West Conference. So, what are some keys for the Hokies, to get the job done in their opening round game versus the Rams?
Well, Colorado State's 4-1. They lost their last game to Denver, but they got a good team. They got Brandon Recksteiner, who was at Virginia Tech the last 2 years. So it's going to be fun to see him back out there. He has started all 5 games and is playing well for them. They got a couple big guys at 6'9" and 6'10". That one of them is averaging nearly a double-double. But they're pretty good. Jorgensen and Booth are good players. It's going to be a tough matchup. I think when you look at their team, they shoot 45% from 3. They shoot 86% at the line, which leads the country. They shoot 52% overall, so they're a good shooting team, and you don't want to foul them. And they don't turn it over much, and they're good passing. So the Hokies have to play well. They're going to have to defend better, and looks like they're going to probably have to score quite a few points to win this game.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Mike, let me let you go because I know you're down there in Bahamas. Enjoy the weather, sir, and I hope you and your family have a great Thanksgiving. I know you're probably not home for Thanksgiving this time of year, but I hope your family has a great Thanksgiving, and we'll talk to you when basketball kicks off a little bit more for us.
That sounds great, and happy Thanksgiving to you guys and all the listeners out there. And we appreciate you, and look forward to getting on there again sometime soon.
All right, Mike. Have a good day trip down there and have fun.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Chris.
All right,
Thanks,
see you,
Adam.
Bye.
Thanks, Mike.
Mike Verna from Bahamas. I didn't want to keep him on long enough because the long distance bills.
True.
Yeah, really nice of him to do that. So
yes, it is. Yes.
I know I have some stuff here we got to play. I want you to put your and turn away. I know this guy. He actually has a birthday today. This guy is this guy.
Oh no, Chris!
I have to. This is classic. It's his birthday.
I know.
All right, so here it is.
Deep to left. Yastrzemski will not get it. It's a home run. A 3-run home run for Bucky Denton. The Yankees now lead it by a score of 3-2. Bucky Denton has just hit his 5th home run of the year into the screen. And look at that Yankee bench, led by Bob Lemon. Big Cliff Johnson out there. And a happy Bucky Denton. Yankees now lead 3-2.
So, just a fun fact there. Back in the day when they had the playoff games on TV, they had the local feed still doing the games.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, until like 1980, they decided to go to national broadcasts with ABC and NBC and all that stuff taking over. But they used to have the local broadcasters on doing their TV. They had the playoffs on the local station.
Cool.
Yeah, so at the time you had ABC Sports doing the national feed, and then you had in New York or whatever you had WPIX or WOR-TV or whatever doing the other game. I read that. So it's
very cool.
Yeah. So that's Bucky Dent, who had a birthday today. So let's get back to some positive notes. So here's another birthday salute for you, Adam. So here it is.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Adam. I hope you have the best day ever.
From Carrie.
Yes,
She wished me happy birthday yesterday on Facebook.
So folks, if you just logged in, we're saluting Adam on his birthday. I couldn't get anybody to join us live, but we did it, by video. So I have some.
Yes, you did, and I appreciate everyone who is, I got a lot of birthday wishes from friends from across the globe. So,
yeah. Well, we talked last week. We had the Met guy on, and some trade happened on Sunday.
I was gonna call you about that, Chris.
Let me play the clip. I got the clip.
I've got to ask, as a New York Mets fan, I've got to ask what your take is.
Well, let's play the last time I saw Brandon Nemo in a Met uniform.
Well, he's been even more effective. Nemo skies one to left center. Young moving back on the warning track. Back at the fence, and it's out of here. Brandon Nemo goes the other way for his 11th home run of the season. And it's 4-0 New York.
All right, so my take on it, I understand that the Mets traded him to Texas, but the way that they did it, they didn't even tell him until Friday afternoon.
What the heck?
Yeah, Brandon Nemo said he knew Friday because he had a no trade clause in the Mets contract.
He did.
And you know who he talked? Guess who he talked to about going to Texas? Jacob deGrom.
Oh, really now?
Yeah, so Jacob called him and said, look, come to Texas because it's going to be a great team. And no offense to Simeon, he's 35 years old.
Uh-huh.
And you get cash situation, from the Mets, but to me, I thought Brandon Nemo was going to be one of those true Mets, like a David
I
Ross.
did too. I will say I enjoyed watching him play. So
Yeah.
the good thing is I don't have to see him in the National League anymore when he faces.
Well, you'll see him in Texas, and I know everybody plays everybody now. So basically,
I know.
So whenever the Rangers come to Atlanta or the Mets have to go to Texas in late September next year, so I guess they'll have a nice reunion with both of them. So
I guess.
So Brandon Nemo going to Texas over the weekend, and Simeon coming to New York. So I guess that's. So the Mets are now trying to figure out if the Polar Bear and Diaz are going to stick around. So we might.
Well, I've got to ask you, Chris. Now, do you think they stick around?
Well, if you're the GM for the Mets, you need to sell this real good to them.
True.
Yeah. Other news and notes. We'll talk more about that next week or the week after. Cal fired.
I saw. Yeah, they did. They fired him, and they fired Justin Wilcox, and assistant Nick Rolovich is now the head coach. So
yeah,
I will say I enjoyed talking to Coach Wilcox at the ACC kickoff. Nice guy.
Yeah,
a lot of respect for him. So there's another head coaching opening.
Yeah, I think if you lose to your rival, I guess you get fired.
Hey.
Did they win? I thought they won.
I think Stanford won.
Yeah, Stanford won.
Yeah, well, all I know is I'm pulling for Notre Dame to beat Stanford this weekend.
Yeah. So Ron Rivera, who's the GM of Cal football, said, "I want to thank Justin for all his contributions to our football program, our athletic department, and our university. He'll always comport himself at class and professionalism." So I think that's what Florida State needs, a GM.
Well, it's called. We talked about this, Chris. I agree.
Yeah,
they need someone that knows.
In Cal, what's wrong with Florida State having a GM? And if they had a GM, Mike Novell would probably want to be here.
Probably, that's true. And it's like if Florida State were to get a GM, they need someone who. Why don't they bring a former player back who understands the team, understands the history, and it's like it would be perfect.
Oh, speaking of Thanksgiving, did you know the only team that never played on Thanksgiving is Jacksonville?
Really?
Yeah, never played. Yeah, and then another team that hasn't played on Thanksgiving in a long time, the Rams.
Wow.
1975.
A few years before I was born.
I was probably a figment of my mom's imagination back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I was up in the stars somewhere in 75,
Yeah, I seen it. Yeah.
Didn't come down until later.
True.
On this date in we talk about Lamar Jackson. He had something happen in 2019 on this day. He became the youngest quarterback, first quarterback in the NFL history to throw 3,000 yards passing and rushing for 1,500 yards in his first 2 seasons. And as the Ravens beat the Rams on this night, and it was on Monday Night Football.
Wow.
Yeah, look at those uniforms, purple and yellow. So
Yeah. Oh, Chris, it's called. I have something to share with you about my birthday, because someone that you probably know shares a birthday with me.
I think I saw it yesterday.
It's called. I gave you a hint. It's called. He's a former pitcher.
Former pitcher.
Uh-huh.
What team did he play for?
He played for Baltimore.
Baltimore. Former pitcher Baltimore.
It's called. He's now a broadcaster.
Oh, is it Jim Palmer?
No.
Oh, okay.
He played. It's called. Where he played college baseball. Recently, they have been really good over the last few years.
Okay. So he's a.
You would recognize the name, Chris.
Yeah, tell me. I'm trying to get it. I'm trying.
Okay. For you folks who don't know out there, I share a birthday with former LSU great, Baltimore Oriole great, and now broadcaster Ben McDonald.
I was thinking Jim Palmer for a minute. I'm thinking, I saw that yesterday. Yeah, Jim Palmer. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's got.
That's cool.
One of these days, Chris, we need to find a way to get Ben McDonald.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him on. So we're gonna wrap it up here. So on the program, we have one more birthday salute. I didn't forget one more person here. So let me bring this in. So here's the last birthday salute for Adam.
Happy birthday, Adam. May the year that follows be filled with lots of laughs, much success, and many blessings. Happy birthday.
Got some candy from Rejects in a Pod.
Yeah, and she's a Miami Hurricane person, so I know that.
Yeah, she is. Yeah. So
if Miami makes it to the college football playoff, we'll get her on to talk about the Canes.
Oh, yeah.
All right, but next week, this Tuesday, December 2nd, so we will get ourselves championship week, because on championship.
We'll get ready for Charlotte.
Yeah, we'll get ready for Charlotte because we'll be heading down Thursday, and Friday will be the
walkthrough.
The walkthroughs and the talk to the coaches and everything else. So next Tuesday night, we'll do it at 8:00 like we always do.
We'll do it at 8:00. Yeah, that's all. We'll get you guys ready for the ACC championship game.
We'll talk all championship games because we got the Sun Belt, we have the American, we have the Big Ten, we have the SEC, we have the Big 12,
and Conference USA.
Conference USA. We'll grab whoever we can, on the program.
Yeah.
And then this time next week we'll be getting ready for Charlotte, and then we're down in Charlotte. We'll do a show sometime on Saturday. We'll do one.
It's called, So Chris and I, we could be going to a college basketball game down there in Charlotte. Between the Dayton Flyers and Virginia Cavaliers, because they're playing at the Spectrum Center that Saturday afternoon. And we could go to a Charlotte Checkers hockey game that Friday night. So we're gonna have so you never know.
Never know, buddy. Never know. We'll try to play it by ear and see what we'll see.
Yes, we will.
Yeah. Let's bring this up before we go. I got the picture for you. The college football playoff thing tonight.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, let's bring this in real quick before we wrap it up here. Yeah, we're on a little late tonight because we had a birthday, Charlie Nicole's father's birthday tonight. So if he's watching out there, thank you for tuning in. There's the top 25. You got nobody changed. The top 4, Texas Tech is 5. Miami is now number 12, switched with number 13, Utah. And then you got Tulane, number 24, from the American. And then you have no James Madison in the top 25.
Which is kind of weird because they did beat a good Washington State. Well, they did beat Washington State on Saturday, but
yeah, well, they'll be hosting the Sun Belt Championship down in beautiful Harrisonburg, Virginia next week. So we'll try to get somebody on from JMU. We'll see if we can get our friend we had on last week from JMU.
Yes.
We'll talk about that game and we'll see who's playing on the other side. So we want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
We'll play these 2 interviews this week on the program. We have Coach Shimmer. We talked to him. We're just running out of time here because we had Mike join us from Bahamas. So we'll put that on Thursday morning so people can tune in to listen to that along with Matt's logging back in before we log off here. So all right, Matt, we're going to say we're logging out, big guys. So what do you think about the college football playoff real quick?
Who's ranked in the top?
All right, let me bring up the picture here if you can see it. All right, so you got Ohio State and Indiana still 1 and 2, Texas A&M 3, UGA 4, Texas Tech 5, Oregon 6, Ole Miss 7, Oklahoma 8, Notre Dame 9, Alabama 10. And then BYU and Miami are 11 and 12. Utah is 13, Vanderbilt 14, Michigan 15. Texas 16, USC 17, Virginia 18, Tennessee 19, Arizona State 20, SMU 21, Pitt and Georgia Tech are 22 and 23, Tulane 24, and Arizona number 25.
My question is, where's Navy at?
Not even on there. And where's JMU?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think this whole college football playoff thing is a joke, and I think we'll have that discussion next week after we'll have that discussion down at the when we're down in Charlotte. Adam and I we'll do that.
Oh, we will.
So guys, do you think they should just do away with the committee and just do the AP poll, or what do you think they should do?
I think they should go back to the BCS. I think that was more exciting. Yeah, or just do or they should do the system that they have in the subdivision, because we had Coach. We talked to Jim Fleming from Rhode Island last night, and they had point values and they have all these different formulas. That Monmouth University was 8-5 or 82?
Yeah.
Didn't make the playoffs. So how is an 82 team did not make a playoff? So they should adopt that system because it's working down there in the subdivision. Why do they have to make a new system up in the Division I football, the college football playoff? That's what I'm going to talk to somebody down in Charlotte about that. Why can't they just stop? Why can't they just adopt the division, subdivision, formula, and you don't have a problem? It's working for them for the last 25 years.
Sure.
Yeah, right, Matt. It's been working.
Yeah. So, but why haven't they adopted that system?
I'm not the NCAA.
I think you have all these free schools like Alabama, Florida State. Everybody don't want to do it. That's another story for another day.
Sure.
Yeah. All right, buddy. I want to wish you a good Thanksgiving. Okay.
Happy Thanksgiving, Matt.
Adam, happy Thanksgiving, man. Hope you. What are you guys gonna? What, are you gonna be visiting family or what? Are you
No, Scott, I'll be with. No, Scott, I'm working tomorrow, and then Thursday I'm off, and I'm just gonna chill and watch football.
I'm going down. I have a really tough commute behind my house.
Although, yeah, but it's like
I don't have to worry about traffic. No, I'm going up with my parents on Saturday, maybe. It's all.
Yeah, well, Chris, I thought you can walk. We thought you can walk there.
Yeah, well, we'll see what we can do on Saturday. But anyway, all right, guys, we'll talk to you. We leave you we'll see you guys next Tuesday at 8 o'clock here on the program. And we'll leave you with a Thanksgiving tune. So I hope you enjoyed this one. It's Apple Peaches Pumpkin Pie.
Ooh.
Yeah. So here it is. We'll talk to you soon.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.